Hey guys, so I am doing another Dave Chappelle video. Alright, you guys are welcome. I know you guys love this. You guys are welcome. By the way, I just want to say, this video is specifically on selective racism. It exists. Selectively racism. Alright, what is selective racism? It's what Dave's doing. All right, it's what you guys are doing, selective racism. All right, it's when you select who you want to be racist towards. It's when you select who you want to be prejudicial towards. All right, you're not necessarily prejudicial towards, everything. You're not prejudicial towards a particular group, but you're selective about what it is that you're prejudicial towards, what you're racist against. And so how does this relate to Dave Chappelle and his special? So basically, Dave Chappelle, obviously he's a black man, all right? He's not going to be prejudicial towards black people. He's not. Okay, that's just the way it is. I'm sure there are some black people who are prejudiced against their own race, but for the most part, he's not going to be prejudicial towards his own race. All right. So basically, the material that he puts out, it's not going to be prejudicial towards his own race. All right. It's going to be prejudicial towards, it's going to be racist, prejudicial towards, what race at this point that he can get away with. And that's pretty much, at this point, it's still kind of pretty much, LGBTs, feminists, social justice warriors, anti-fat shamers, going down the list, okay? Now, this is a common practice in Hollywood, in the media. It's been common practice for common practice for a while. It's been common practice for the last 20 years, all right? Selective racism, all right? Keep that in your mind, okay? Because here's the thing. When he puts out this kind of material where he makes jokes, and these jokes are not just jokes. He's sending out a message pretty much, criticizing certain groups. He's sending out a message saying that pretty much what he's saying is, it's not cool. It's not cool with him. You guys are throwing this out like, he's just making a joke. You should just laugh at it. He's just making a joke. You should just laugh at it. But I remember a time not too long ago where that excuse would have been used towards black jokes, and everybody got their panties in a bunch. Everybody went apeshit, got their panties in a bunch. People got fired. Nappy-headed hoes got fired, etc., etc. You guys been around for that? You guys know what I mean. All right? So basically, Hollywood since then has been pretty much a racially based business. It's a racially based business, okay? And selective racism is how that business works. All right, there are certain races and groups that Hollywood won't touch. Won't touch meaning that they will give the best representation to those groups. Those groups being, for the longest time, those groups, for the last 20 years probably, those groups have been black people, Jews. All right, if you guys have seen how black people have been portrayed, it's not negative. I mean, it could be racial, but being portrayed racial doesn't mean that it's racist. All right, now there are three types of stereotypes: racist stereotypes, neutral stereotypes, and good stereotypes, positive stereotypes. There is such a thing as positive stereotypes, all right? You guys know what they are. Positive stereotypes, neutral stereotypes, negative stereotypes, all right? So Hollywood writers, directors, producers, they like to put, at this point, they like to depict certain groups with positive and neutral stereotypes, non-offensive stereotypes. They might be racial, but they're non-offensive. All right, racial does not mean racist. All right, racial means it's race-based, but it doesn't mean that's racist. So for blacks and Jews, most of the stereotypes are either neutral or positive stereotypes. All right, they don't do negative stereotypes on blacks anymore since, I don't know, the early 2000s. That doesn't exist anymore. All right, they get the best representation, better than probably white people at this point. All right, they get the characters. The characters, for the most part, are sympathetic. All right, they're positive. They're not racist. Probably like the best representation, the Coca-Cola treatment is what I like to call it, the Coca-Cola treatment. All right, as far as Jewish stereotypes are concerned, they're not racist. They don't do racist stereotypes. Obviously you know why they don't do racist stereotypes. All right, the stereotypes that they do for the Jews, positive and neutral. You can laugh at them, you won't be offended. All right, those are the stereotypes that they do for Jews also, being they control the industry. All right, everybody knows that they control the industry. All right, that's an obvious. And here's the thing about it. This back and forth with the blacks and Jews over the last 20 years, it hasn't been a negative thing. It's always been, lately it's been always been pat on your back, pat on the back, positive towards each other. I'll scratch my back, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. You know, back and forth. They only do positive and neutral stereotypes towards each other. It hasn't, it's only been lately that, you know, those positive stereotypes, as far as selective racism is concerned, has now spread out to other groups. All right, the gays, the women's rights groups, trans, anti-fat shamers, they see what's going on. All right, these groups are not stupid. They see what's going on. For the longest time, a lot of the racism that was passed towards black people pretty much got transferred to other groups. It got transferred to gays. It got transferred to women. It got transferred to Latinos, Asian Americans in particular, Arab Americans, Indian Americans, etc., etc. Apu, for example. All right, from The Simpsons. Apu from The Simpsons, for example. All right, they did a lot of these other groups dirty. They did a lot of these other groups dirty by transferring all the negativity, all the racism towards these other groups, being really selective about the racism towards these other groups in the name of entertainment, in the name of making money, but it's all BS, considering that everything they do in Hollywood has an influence on society. So when you transfer that negative energy, negative racism towards these other groups, selecting racism towards these other groups while portraying other groups positively, what you're doing is you're pretty much fucking up the social status of these other groups. And it's an absolute fact. All right, you guys know it. Black people know it. They know it. Jews know it. You guys know it because you guys went out of your way over the last 20 years. The NAACP, they got the Image Awards. Jesse Jackson boycotted the Oscars. All these civil rights organizations. The NAACP has an office inside Hollywood. So do a lot of civil rights organizations. There's a reason for that. All right, nobody wants to be portrayed negatively. Nobody. All right, and the only way to keep Hollywood honest about that is to just social justice warrior the hell out of them, to make them honest, to keep them on the up and up. Because if you guys don't do it, they're gonna commit racism towards your group. They're gonna commit prejudicial. They're gonna have prejudicial characters, prejudicial scenes, TVs, movies, etc., etc. All right, they're gonna fuck up your image. Fucking up your image, through the media is essentially fucking up your image in real life, in society. All right, that's the way it works. All right, what you see on TV and the movies has a huge influence on society, on how certain groups are viewed, and that is a fact. The Jews know this. That's why they never portray themselves negatively. All right, they'll portray everybody else negatively. They're not doing it towards the blacks. Reason being is they know where the parameters are. All right, they know what the consequences are. So a lot of these groups, a lot of these people in Hollywood, the power players, the people who have control over certain things, for the longest time, they would just pass racism on to other groups. All right, that's what they do. They need a bad guy, they need this, they need that, the storyline, even if it doesn't make any sense, they'll pass it on to other groups if they can't use certain groups in reality for scenes and stuff like that. That's what they do. That's what the writers do. That's what these directors do. That's what they do. All right? If you watch TV, the movies, you know, all right, when they depict blacks, when they depict whites, most of them are Jews, they always select the 1%, the 1% of the population, the tallest looking, best looking, biggest dudes they can find to depict themselves. That's been like what's been happening over the last 10, 20 years. That's what they do. But when they depict other people, for example, gays, for example, Latinos, for example, Asian Americans, Arab Americans, Indian Americans, etc., etc., you know, it's a rare occasion that they pick the best of the best to represent them. On top of that, what they do with the women of these other races, all right, is they'll do a dichotomy where they'll do dirty to the men as far as the portrayals are concerned on TV and the movies. They'll do dirty to the men as far as depicting them as stereotypical as they can. But with the women, I've noticed that again and again and again, they will choose the tallest, best looking chicks that can, and then they'll pair it up with either a white dude or in these cases a black dude, which they used to do to black people in the 80s, the 70s. They would choose the best looking chicks, black chicks, and then they would pair them out with white characters. You guys had a problem with that, I'm pretty sure. All right, it had a huge effect on society. It had a huge effect on the psyche of the population. All right, so going back to selective racism. All right, these groups, they know what's up. All right, they know what's up. They're not gonna sit for it. They're not gonna just let you do to their image what you want to do, Dave Chappelle. All right, that time is over. That time is over, okay? There's a reason why every single one of these groups are absolutely pissed off at that garbage. And for somebody like you to go out of your way, a black man who have used the media, who have used social justice warrior, who have used civil rights over the last 20 years to bitch, complain, and race bait the hell out of society, out of American society, out of the media in general, and then to go out and just do a comedy special about non-PC culture and just bash all these other groups who are trying to get where you guys have gone over the last 20 years. It's wrong. It's wrong. And you guys know it. You guys who comment, know it. All right? Because, you guys have the crappiest, put out the crappiest comments in the comment section that's got nothing to do with this argument. It's always about crap like caps lock, stuff like that has nothing to do with this argument, because you guys don't have an argument to make. That's the problem with you guys. That's your problem. That's not my problem. If you can read it, you're good with it. You got the message. But I'm just saying, all right? He shouldn't be doing a special like that. All right? Knowing his own history, knowing the history of his own race and his group, he shouldn't do a special like that. The time's over. You can't be putting out stuff like that anymore these days. You can't. All right? If the media is going to portray a certain group, with dignity, with as much dignity as possible, they should portray every single other group that's out there with as much dignity as possible. You can't just shove that shit onto other people's driveway because because some group told you not to put it in their driveway. These people over the last 20 years have pretty much shoved that shit into every other group's driveway. Every other race's driveway, they've been shoving that shit into every group's driveway. All right? And people know that. People see that. They're not cool with it. They got a voice now. All right? It's called the internet. They got a voice. You can't do that. You just can't. And that's why a lot of people are upset about his special. Now, I'm not particularly upset about his special in the way that you think I'm upset about his special. I'm upset about his special because he's a hypocrite. Like most of these idiots in Hollywood, they're a bunch of hypocrites. Like all these morons in Hollywood, so-called celebrities who call themselves a bunch of geniuses. Yo, you tell jokes for a living, idiot. You're just lucky you're getting paid. You're lucky there's an industry for your crap. All right? You tell jokes for a living. You're not a genius. You tell jokes for a living, moron. All right? I'm not pissed about, that. I'm pissed about the hypocrisy. And I've said in my other videos, if I see hypocrisy and it's blatant hypocrisy, I'm going to call people out on it. All right? Just keep it real. Don't be a hypocrite with your garbage. Just don't be a hypocrite. All right?